Now in Daniel, we read about the kingdoms as they will arise upon the earth, and each kingdom had its opportunity and then was replaced by another kingdom. I've had this statue modified slightly because whenever you look at the statue in the books, he's always standing with his legs nicely together. And I didn't like that, so I had one made where you spread the legs. Because one of the feet is sitting in Rome, but if you go to the Roman Empire, it also had a seat in the east, in Constantinople. And this kingdom is a universal kingdom, so it saddles the whole earth. And he's firmly entrenched not only in the east, but also in the west. But in the 10 toes are epitomized the Roman Empire in its western form, which will eventually control through its norms and its standards the entire world. Now, who came out of that Western European empire? Is it just Europe? Or is it the countries associated with Europe? What about the United States of America? Isn't it settled largely with Europeans, or wasn't it originally when the constitutions were framed? What about Southern Africa? What about Australia and New Zealand? So that's the one aspect, and then you have the other aspect, the eastern component. And the feet are made of iron and clay. Now, if we read in the Spirit of Prophecy, it says there, iron and clay is the mingling of churchcraft and statecraft. We have to read this carefully. We've come to a time when God's sacred work is represented by the feet of the image in which the iron was mixed with the miry clay. God has a people, a chosen people, whose discernment must be sanctified, who must not become unholy by laying upon the foundation wood, hay, and stubble. So there's something that we have to do that's different to what the world does. Every soul who is loyal to the commandments of God will see that the distinguishing feature of our faith is the seventh-day Sabbath. If the government would honor the Sabbath as God has commanded, it would stand in the strength of God in defense of the faith once delivered to the saints. But statesmen will uphold the spurious Sabbath and will mingle their religious faith with the observance of this child of the papacy, placing it above the Sabbath which the Lord has sanctified and blessed, setting it apart for man to keep holy, as a sign between him and his people to 1,000 generations. The mingling of churchcraft and statecraft is represented by the iron and the clay. So often we want to say that the clay are the weak elements of the political systems and the iron are the strong parts. But this is not what the Bible really teaches, nor what the Spirit of Prophecy says. The clay is churchcraft. The iron is statecraft. And the two are constantly trying to work together to set up a counterfeit kingdom. But they will not cleave, except for a brief moment at the end when everybody gives their power unto the system. This investing the church with the power of the state will bring evil results. Men have almost passed the point of God's forbearance. They have invested their strength in politics and have united with the papacy. But the time will come when God will punish those who have made void his law, and their evil work will recoil upon themselves. So how close are we to this togetherness, this final push? And what is the ideology that will finally bring it about? Well, in the book Education we read, at the same time, anarchy is seeking to sweep away all law. Not only divine, but human. The centralizing of wealth and power, one aspect. The vast combinations for the enriching of the few at the expense of the many. The combination of the poorer classes for the defense of their interests and claims. The spirit of unrest, of riot and bloodshed. The worldwide dissemination, and this is interesting, of the same teachings that led to the French Revolution are all tending to involve the whole world in a struggle similar to that which convulsed France. Now, do we have all of these in the world today? Do we have the centralization of wealth and power? Yes. But who did the wealth and power centralization? Do we have combinations for the enriching of the few against the many? Yes. Do we have combinations of poorer classes to defend their interests in the form of trade unions, etc.? Yes, we do. Do we have a spirit of unrest? You only have to look at the news. Do we have riots? Do we have bloodshed? And do we have the same teachings as we had during the French Revolution? And the answer is yes, to every single one of them. In fact, Condoleezza Rice said that even the Bush administration's main task was to complete the work of the French Revolution. Now, we're living in a cataclysmic time. Now, whether these are acts of demonic powers or whether these are planned is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that a Hegelian dialectic is being used to channel the mindset of man in a particular direction. As the Masonic fraternity says, ordo ab chaos. Out of the chaos, you create the order that you want. But in order to get people to have the same mindset, you must first channel them through the chaos. So it's not only in the Western world that we see catastrophes, we see it in the Eastern world as well.